FaithCast. My name is Pastor Sonia, and today we have Pastor David.
Hey, good to see you. Good to be here.
Pastor Peter.
Hello, everyone.
I love your cheesy smile. You were already like,
he was ready.
camera ready.
That's
ready
exciting,
all
you
team.
know?
All, he was
A lot of
ready.
good things to say, I think.
And Pastor Kaimana.
Hello.
Thank you guys for being with us today. Okay, first question. Do you lose things more than you admit?
Absolutely. According to my wife.
Right.
So
Yes.
I don't think I lose things, but I think I lose things more than I think. So
Do you ask her where stuff is a lot? Is that what
yeah,
she tells you? That?
and the thing is that she finds it
Yeah.
quickly when I can't find it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
I think that's like a wife duty though.
yeah.
Because
She
I
knows
lose a lot of stuff, but I also am the finder of everything in my house. So I don't have brain space to keep track of my things.
Wives have
That's
the
what it
gift.
is. Like the other
She
day,
loses
I
her
put on
keys
our
and her water
Snapchat.
bottle
Yeah.
every few weeks.
On our mainstream Snapchat, I'm like, hey guys, if you see my keys, let me know. If you see my water bottle, let me know. Like
We blamed it on baby brain for all the years that she was
it's
pregnant.
pretty
but
accurate though, because
now
I
it's
still
just
have
brain.
baby brain. Yeah.
I lose big things like shoes, and my wife's like, "Your shoes are right there," you
You're
know,
like where
or
they're
just something in my
supposed to be.
backpack,
Okay.
something big. It's not keys I'm losing or AirPods. It's big things,
It's
and
like
I can't find
It's like,
them.
where's
But
my
my
child?
wife,
Where's
yeah,
Lincoln?
yeah,
Got
got to put air tags on the kids. That's a good idea, right?
That is.
Yeah.
people do that. There's little space. They have shoes now that you can insert an air tag.
Brilliant.
I like that.
In their backpacks. Okay, are you a tear the whole place apart seeker or I looked for 8 seconds seeker? A or B? Like when you lose something, are you like tear everything apart, go crazy? Or are you like 8 seconds, oh, I can't find it, oh my God.
Yeah, I tear it apart. I feel like that's why I find things. Because I'm just like, I will take this down piece by piece because my keys are in here somewhere.
I put stuff back in the same spot, especially like my stuff.
You don't lose anything.
I don't lose stuff. And so I'm an 8-second seeker because if it's not where I know it should be, then I didn't lose it.
Sense. I think I'm a tear it apart, but not find it person.
Okay.
And then that's where I'm like, Crystal,
just
my
a
wife,
mess.
come,
Yeah.
please help
Yes.
me. And then I don't know if you guys ever do this, but sometimes I'm like, where would the earlier version of me have thought to put this?
Yes.
And then I try to think about what I would have been thinking about.
Yes.
That's usually my only hope. And
Does it work
it's
though?
Crystal.
Because I
It actually
remember, I
does.
put this somewhere so that I wouldn't lose it.
You
But
have to
we
say
like,
it out loud.
I'm forever hiding things from my kids. So I'm like,
Yeah.
where did I put
Oh,
that
yeah.
thing so my kids wouldn't grab it, but that I wouldn't lose it? And then it's just.
I'm like you, I don't really lose things.
Yeah.
So when I do lose them, something is wrong. Like I need to sit down, I need a break, I need a mental health day. Like if I lose something, it is really bad. There's people around me, literally, I put them in a frenzy. If I lose something, they're like, okay, something's wrong. The rapture is happening. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like so. Okay, where's the strangest place you have found your keys?
My hands.
Because they're never there.
Strangest
Your
place.
hands.
Yeah, you walk around the house, you walk
Yeah.
around the office, and you're like, where are
After
my
20
keys?
minutes.
And then they're in
Yep.
your hands.
Gosh.
I've definitely found my keys in a trash can.
Oh no.
And I
Wow.
definitely probably I was the one that threw them in there, I think. But it was like at the Goldenrod campus after like a sports small group that I led.
Yeah.
And so like my 2 friends were just there forever and we were like looking in the mulch, looking in the bleachers, looking in the trees. And then like I don't know what made me look in the trash can outside of the gym. But I did. I was like, this would be funny. And then
There it is.
my lanyard and all. And I was like, well, I was in the trash.
It's the best feeling to find it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh,
And the worst feeling to not.
I'm getting you both air tags for Christmas.
yes.
Like,
I
I just
think
put
we
my
have
keys
some,
on
we
the
just
same hook
don't.
every day. Just, you know what I mean? These questions are making me feel boring. Like,
But
I'm
like during
Oh.
the day, like
but when I get to
Where
where
are
I'm going,
they?
I put them in my backpack. And then I don't know. I can't tell you a place I found them that I was like, I can't
where are your
believe
keys right now?
they're here. My pocket.
Oh.
When I grow up, I want to be like you.
Yeah.
I
It's an air
do.
tag away. you
Although
know?
I did my wallet one time we were about to go on a trip, and my wallet had slipped out. I was in church, slipped out somewhere, and I had to have my driver's license to go on this trip. I'm like looking in gutters. I'm looking under the car where I parked. I'm looking around the house, tearing everything apart. But one day I was like, I'm just gonna go back to the church one more time, and I'm gonna see where I was sitting on Sunday. My wallet had slipped out, and it had a magnetic back and was magnetized
to the
to the
seat.
metal
Oh
part
my
of the seats.
gosh.
And I was so happy I found it. I
That's
praised the Lord. We could go on
crazy.
our trip, but yeah, that was a crazy place to lose it.
Wow.
That is
Wasn't in the gutter, not magnetized to the seat. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like having things. Like I just want to have me. Like
And then
that's
nothing
it.
else.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so when I'm in charge of something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna lose it. I want it. I don't want it.
I think the strangest place I found my keys was the refrigerator. Like I
Inside?
was
In there?
putting, because I was like putting like groceries
yeah.
away and like have it
Yeah.
like whatever. So I think I put it down. But I'm very good at like retracing my steps. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
this here. She's like, oh,
When I used to live alone, I
Inside
used
or
to
on
leave
top?
my
in the
keys.
refrigerator. And
Okay.
it was nice and cold.
I used to leave my keys in the front door overnight.
Oh,
I lived by
yeah,
myself.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, and so
That's
I'd be
bad.
freaking out in the morning, like I gotta get to work.
You might as well
Where are
just
my
post
keys?
online, rob
Yeah,
me.
I know. And then I was like, how has no one killed me? So then I always be like, thank you, God. And like also like I'm not gonna tell my dad.
Wow.
Gosh.
That's terrible.
I can't believe you would do that.
I know,
Especially
me
since
too,
you
but
have
it
a very
happened
real fear of
multiple
being murdered,
times. I
Yeah.
know.
being broken in. Like it's like
I know.
very real.
I don't know why. I found my key in the green room. I find my keys all the time, just like, in that snack closet, like in the just in there, just like, oh, I opened it and if I left my keys behind, a snack and goodbye. I shouldn't be trusted.
That's hilarious. I'm just laughing at the snack. Like we can just
Yeah, I'm like, I got the snack,
I got the
and
snack,
then
we
my keys
need
were
the
left
keys.
in the
Can't get
keyhole.
home.
priorities, you know. In this season of prayer and fasting, this season of the FaithCast is called The Seeker, and this particular episode is called "The Seeker Isn't Afraid of Messy." The seeker isn't afraid of messy. So on that note, what does not being afraid of messy free you from?
Yeah, I think it frees you from having to keep everyone out. Because I think of like, growing up, like there were moms that like wouldn't let anyone come over unless the house had been clean for 3 hours. And my mom was never like that. Like our house is kind of messy all the time, but like we could always have people over. And so there was never a fear of like who's coming in because it was like, well, this is our house and this is actually just how it is all the time. And so I think like that same thing with like your heart and your spiritual life. Like if you're just not afraid of showing people your mess, then you can like always take advice. You can sit down
Yeah.
with anyone and talk through something because you're not guarding, well, I don't want them to ask about this, or I'm not ready to talk about this, or I can only talk to this one person because
Yeah.
they're the only person that knows this one thing about me. And I don't know, it adds more stress. So I think when you're not afraid of your mess, you can just kind of receive a lot more help.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's okay to be messy because sometimes we can even gloss over our own issues and kind of just not address things that are going on in our own lives,
Yeah.
and we can just feel like I'm not going to deal with that. But in a messy season,
Mhm.
that's I think we should always have a messy season, but it's good to deal with things, especially at the beginning of the year when we're kind of like looking at our life and evaluating and asking the Lord to show us things. It's good for us to say, I'm going to tackle every issue. I'm not
Yeah.
going to leave anything untouched in this
Mhm.
season.
What does messy look like in your spiritual life right now? Being honest. This is where it gets good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think trying to do things that is obedience that's potentially on the back burner, or just upping habits and spiritual disciplines that were maybe, just, hey, this is the way I do it. Like your prayer time, right? Like
Yeah.
my prayer time for me right now is a lot different because I've changed the time of it. I'm a night prayer person and I've started getting up early. It's like I'm trying to discipline myself to get up early and kind of do it that way. And it's very different. I feel like I have to try to guard my focus more in my prayer time, and my mind is like wandering way more because I'm thinking about my day and inviting God into my day instead of thanking God for the day I already had. And so this is really messy right now. It almost feels like just the framework of my prayers have changed, and I don't know, like I have to be way more intentional about something that I enjoy doing. So
Yeah.
that's
Mm.
really
Yeah.
messy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I would say just in our season of having 4 little kids, that same thing. Like prayer time at home is just, it truly is when it can be. Like it's just, a lot of times it's in a car. If like, none of the kids are there, and then we're on the way to the grocery store, because it really is the only time of
Yeah.
day I'm alone without needing to help anyone, you know? And then once they're all asleep, trying to do anything after that, it's like 20 minutes and I'm also asleep, you know, like wherever I'm at in the house, I'm just asleep there on the floor somewhere.
Without your keys.
Yeah, without my keys, the door's unlocked, like whatever. So I would say that, and not using it as an excuse to
Yeah.
like never pray, but also just being like, yeah, it's truly not gonna look like what it looked like when I was 19
Yeah.
right now, you know, and like kind of also letting go of any kind of heightened sense of like, you know, performative spirituality that's like telling, you know, kids in the youth group, like, what does your prayer life look like? I'm like, it doesn't look like what yours should look like, buddy, because you have nothing going on in your life right now. You know, like you have plenty of time to pray. But yeah, I would say it's messy like that right now.
Yeah. I just was thinking like little kids, they definitely create a mess.
Yeah.
And I think if there's an area of our life where we do have such a consistent rhythm and have been doing things the same for so long, I think we should invite maybe more of a mess.
Oh yeah, that's
Like, let me
good.
just
Yeah.
switch it,
Yeah.
do something
Yeah.
different, especially in this time of prayer and fasting. Like, Pastor Peter, you're saying you've got this time of prayer and you're doing it at a different time, and like switch it up, like
Yeah.
find a day, and just change the time that you pray. Change, maybe something that you're doing during the week, like pick a day that, rather than going on your lunch break, like you're going to go fast and just pray in your car or whatever.
Yeah.
Just switch it up, invite a mess. I think it's good
Cool.
to do that.
I feel like personally, just in my spiritual walk right now, I think my messy is I think I have to be okay to not have all the answers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I ever had all the answers, but I feel I'm in a season. I feel like I have more questions
Yeah.
being asked of me, and I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know? So like I'm a little bit, which I guess is a good thing, like more humbled. So I don't know. I'm going to God a little bit more like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just I don't know what to do. I feel like, you're like, God, what do you want me to do about this? I hear crickets. That's
Yeah.
really exciting.
Mhm.
And then I don't know. I just got to a point just recently. I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care in the nicest way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I'm just gonna trust you with this, and I'm gonna be okay to not have the answers. And I think sometimes when we are praying, if we don't get an answer, the answer we want, we are like, okay, well then prayer's not working, or I'm not gonna not pray. I'm like, no,
Mm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's what wrestling is.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like standing in the gap for China. Like it could just be you like, yeah, God, we're working through this. I know you're with me. I know you're gonna fix this. And we're just gonna walk together in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think God enjoys being silent in seasons because it creates a deeper dependency on Him. I'd
Yeah.
even say it like this: like most Christians, and we should kind of all be going towards the discipline route where we have more consistent schedules and
Mhm.
rhythms and routines. But like, messy is God's plan for maturity.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if you
good.
just
Yeah, yeah.
read the New Testament, you're gonna see it wasn't like there was like moments of consistency, like Peter and
Mhm.
John on their way for the hour of prayer. And then there's a blind man, and that situation is messy. What I don't have, I silver and gold I have none, but what I have I give to you, right? Like that's a messy
Yeah, yeah.
moment. Peter stepping out, on the water, that's messy. And
Mhm.
these moments, and it's like, as Christians, we have to do this like delicate dance between I'm moving towards maturity, but I also have a space of my life in Jesus that's messy and unput together, and that's not bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the fast, many people will go, well, I couldn't do the same thing for 21 days. And it's like, okay, like, could you do it for 10? So we have to learn how to
Yeah,
celebrate
yeah.
the 10
Yeah.
and adjust, for the other 11.
Yeah.
And that's messy and that's okay. It's really about the posture more than it even is about the practice of fasting.
Yeah.
What does it do to your heart,
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think seekers grow the most in the mess, not in the polished moments?
I think it's partially like what he just said, and it's kind of like you just don't know what's really inside of you until you're almost like in survival mode. You
Yeah.
know, like we had an intern that like randomly shared this horrible story about kind of how they almost died, and like we were like, "What's going on here? What do you say?" And basically, they got in a car accident, flipped their car into a like retention pond, then got out of the car. They're like saying this for the first time really casually, and we're like, "Wait, what? I need to process." But when they were like miracle, they were fine, everything was fine. But the EMTs that responded to the situation told them like, you have really great survival instincts because she unclipped her seatbelt immediately and she had to swim out of her driver's side of her car. But like all of it happened so quickly and it had to because if not, it'd be a different story. And I think like that's sometimes what happens when we're in a mess. Like we actually find out, do I have the legs to stand on through this trial? And if I don't, why don't I? And what needs to move? What needs to change? What needs to shift? And so it opens you up to like sometimes finding out too, oh wow, I do have a solid footing. Like maybe I've talked to a lot of people recently who are like feel very insecure because of maybe a challenge someone brought against them, like in their spiritual life. And I'm telling them like, I think you have a really good foundation.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they were more believing maybe what other people were saying. And then they went through a trial and were like, oh yeah, I did run to God and I did seek this. And so I'm, so I just think you grow no matter what, because you actually just figure out, okay, this is truly where I am,
I think people are stronger than what they think.
Yeah.
Because like God doesn't test us beyond what we can handle.
Yeah.
I just think in our minds or whatever we see, we're like, oh, I can't handle this. And God wouldn't allow it unless you can.
Right.
So when you just trust him in the trial, you're like, oh, I mean, nobody wants to be in
No one
suffering
wants
and
to
pain,
suffer,
but
right.
you're like, you're okay, pumpkin. Like you got this,
Yeah,
Pumpkin.
the pumpkin.
That's how God talks.
You okay, cupcake?
Okay. I just, I think the messier the things that we go through, almost, when I look back on the things that I've been through that have been the messiest and the hardest, those have been the times that I look back and I could say, God was so, so faithful.
Amen.
Because there was nothing I could lean on except for him.
Yeah.
And we don't look to go through those seasons, but when we do and we trust in the Lord, and sometimes we even fail in trusting, but God is still faithful.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, when that thing happens again, I know that I can still have the faith that God is with me and he is not going to abandon me. So I think the messier the season, sometimes we need to do like what James says, count it all joy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going through a lot, but I'm just gonna count it as joy that good things are gonna come out of this.
I think the messier too, you realize it's like, it's really accepting the sin that you have too.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when it's not messy, we're like, oh, we're fine, we're good, we have it all figured out. And that's not real.
Yeah.
Really, like, oh yeah, I'm a mess, I'm broke, busted, and disgusted. And you're like, you feel so ugly, but God's like, yeah, I know.
Right.
Like your righteousness is but filthy rags, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So it's almost not accepting our mess is very counterproductive. Like accepting our mess is accepting him as Lord, us as not, moving forward.
Yeah.
But as humans, I guess we counter that, but that's not really being a Christian or a believer or a servant.
It also is a mess, so like it's not, I think maybe especially counseling like young people, like everyone because of social media and like just even testimonies of other people, they're like already trying to skip ahead. Like, and I know, at the end of this, God is going to give me this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, he might not, like I'm not really sure. But I think some of us, maybe as some more modern thing is to look at the mess and already try to figure out like, oh yeah, but in 6 months it's gonna be over and I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna be skinny, and whatever we want. And so I think we have to let go of that too and just be like, no, this is honestly a mess and I cannot discern what it is going to be, but I'm gonna not run from it.
Yeah.
I think too, the Christian might grow the most in the mess because it forces them to go back to the basics.
Yep.
Like personally, even in my own life, like I can remember when I discovered the power of praying in the Spirit again. Like obviously when I was grew up in church, when I was a teenager, I got filled with the Spirit and prayed in the Spirit, grew up in the Pentecostal church. This is a practice, but I didn't realize that had been ushered out of my life in efforts to be more mature in other ways until I went through a difficult season and you're before the Lord and you don't know what to pray.
Yeah.
Right? And then the Spirit begins to overflow out of your life and you're like, oh, this is a basic thing that's not something that I could just push to the side. It's a necessity.
Yeah.
And it became the foundation of my prayer life again. And then after God got me out of that season, I was like, oh, this is not something I can just kind of choose and pick if I want to do this or not. Like this is a part of what it means to walk with Jesus. So I think that the growth happens because the mess forces you to take a step back, realize the standard of God. That's probably the other reason why people grow in the mess is because they're like, well, this is actually God's standard, not what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's good.
And then it forces you to go back to the basics and you have to tap into that.
Yeah.
When did you guys realize that seeking God doesn't require having everything put together?
Mm. I think it takes it. It took me a little bit of time because I think when you come to Christ, you can relate. Okay, well, all the good things I'm doing dictate how I can approach God versus all the bad things, and
Yeah.
the more good I am, the more I can be close to God or seek God, the less bad. And we start to do that. But the more that we um, are with God, like you said, filthy rags, like even the most righteous, like best version in our own definition of that,
Yeah.
still filthy rags.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
God loved us despite of our sin.
Yeah.
So it's just a reminder that it's always a good time to seek.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that honestly it was like I feel like a few years ago that I discovered
This
this.
morning.
Like it was actually at 9 a.m.
Last
today,
night.
right before
Amen.
this
She's
Amen.
podcast.
set
That's
free
okay.
finally.
Finally,
That
I'm
is
saved.
okay.
Oh wow, it's been a journey. But I
It's
think
all up from here.
it started really low. I think that I grew up always like very performance based, like as a person, but also not because anyone made me. Like my parents never were like, "We won't love you if you don't get good grades." But I always, when I was little, was like, I have to get A's on everything. I have to
Yeah.
do every sport. I have to be creative. Like I realized that some of like the righteous things that like maybe are part of my life were kind of a part of my life before I was really like seeking Jesus. So I think I was realized, oh, I'm leaning on this stuff and it could really heavily be like humanism.
Wow.
Really, because I
Mm.
think if I didn't know God, I would still do most of these things.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like my own, I've realized like I was kind of serving like myself, like never anyone else's opinion. I don't know why I don't care about other people's opinions, but I don't. But I care a lot about my own opinion of myself.
Yeah.
And so then a few years ago, when God was just showing me like his love for me, like it was very hard to accept that it wasn't based on performance, and not like
Yeah.
performance on stage, like preaching, but like how much I prayed or what I read in the Word or what I did with my free time, like every single part of it. Not even to get like credit from him, but just kind of be like, yeah, if I'm not doing this, like I'm going to be distant because he probably is not happy with me and whatever. I think a few years ago, like I went through this whole season of just learning how much he loved me, and it was super, very uncomfortable. I was like, I don't like how this. It was messy, you know.
Yeah.
But I think I only learned it a little bit ago because when you're performing well,
Yeah.
you don't really have to learn it, you know. And I
Yeah.
think God was just like, at that point, maybe was using me so publicly in areas that he was like, okay, you really have to understand this now. And so it wasn't a trial or a sin or anything that brought me to it. It was actually just like his divine intervention that was like, I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to sit here and absorb my love for you, which I
Yeah.
still feel like cringy saying right now, you know, like,
No, but
because I
yeah.
just hadn't been, I'm like, no, this is uncomfortable. Like, let me do something for you. Let me
Yeah.
serve you, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
really good.
Yeah.
I think the reality of that, of God's love, that is it. Like
Yeah.
he loved us, not like before we were saved.
Yeah.
He can't love us anymore. Even when we were gross, disgusting. We can go murder everyone right now, which I
Yeah.
do not
I'm
advise.
not going to do it.
He still loves us the same. He can't love us anymore. He can't love us any less. And then the only reason we even have a hint, a sprinkle, a pumpkin of love
Right.
is because he first loved us.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
like it literally, every paradigm, every bit of control that we once had is just
Mhm.
like tear it up,
Yeah.
burn it down.
Yeah.
Because it is nothing.
Yep.
It's all him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so, and we have to start there. We always have to go back to that because I don't know, his love is everything.
No, for facts. When you said when did it happen? I mean, I just remember being in like college, like Bible college, surrounded by super talented people, and I realized like, okay, like maybe there is some things that God put in me, but it is not comparable to these people. But
Mhm.
if I live in this tension forever, I'm never going to feel like God loves me because look at this person. They're so talented. And I remember in that time of my life, I read just the passage about Jesus being baptized by John the Baptist. And it says that when that happened, that the cloud
Mhm.
opened up and the voice of the Father said, "This is my dearly beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased." And I was at least aware enough when I was reading that to go, wait a minute, what do you mean? He didn't do anything yet.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there was no
Yeah,
stuff
that's so
yet. There was
good,
no
yeah.
there's no healings and miracles.
Mhm.
What do you mean you're well pleased? How can you be pleased
Right.
when there was no action, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think reading that, even in that time, I was like, oh, there's the pleasure of God is available to us even before
Yeah.
we do anything
Amen.
of
Yeah.
significance.
Thank God.
And so that's kind of really helped me. And I live in that world of like, I've said it multiple times. Somebody challenged me just a few years ago to sit in my prayer time in the love of God. And I was like, that's so dumb. Like, I'm a pastor. Like, I can obviously do that. And
Right.
I'm like, we want me to sit there and like, yeah, don't ask God for anything. Don't declare. Come on, I'm Pentecostal. I'm going to declare some stuff. They were like, don't cast out anything. Just sit there and absorb. That's an interesting word. Just sit there and be loved by God. And I was like, oh, I can do that. And they said 20 minutes, which seems so trivial. I'm like,
You're like, I
20
got it.
minutes? I've dedicated 4 years of my life, to anyway. So I did it for the first time. And after 8 minutes, I felt all the array of emotions.
Yeah.
Like I cried, I was angry, I was frustrated. And it
You're like,
only
I'm
said
done.
8 minutes.
Grieving process.
Yes, it said 8 minutes. And I was like, this is impossible. To just sit here, and it is just proof to the world we live in and the way we view the scriptures that we are a people driven by action. And it's good. We want to obey God and do what he's called us to do, but there's a massive, massive, massive part of sitting in the lap of Jesus and letting him love you and shape you. And
And I even think like in a time like this to have times where we just listen too, because we love to talk.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think what we're talking about today is so much we like to be in control.
Yeah.
We want to not control God, but we feel like it's all up to us when he's God.
Yeah.
And we can just sit, and I think he's got something to say.
Yeah. Hello.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we should be ready to listen, and that may be messy for a lot of people because we're twitching and where's my phone and this, and
just
it's like
physically it's hard.
Yeah.
isn't that so freeing though? Like knowing
Yeah.
that in this time of prayer and fasting, like the most beneficial thing you might do is from the Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like even just like reading about like Moses or something, he like climbed a mountain for 40 days and he's like up there, you're like, doing like he's waiting on God. Like there's no way that many of us could wait on God for 40 days because we'd be talking to ourselves for 40. You can't. There's not enough you can say. At some point, you got to be quiet. You know what I mean?
We talk to something.
It's an important practice, though. I think we are missing a lot of what God is trying to tell us because we always have to have so many things going on. I was talking to a couple of our leaders the other day, and they nanny for a couple girls, and they're saying that now it's not just watching their phone and eating breakfast. They have to have 2 shows. They have a split screen on their phone, watching plus, eating cereal, waiting, and the nanny was trying to talk to them, and they were like, my person does that too. I was like, oh my goodness. They just can't do it. The brain is just not, we have to be split all the time. We can't just lock in. The other day when we were doing our Kingdom Builders Big Push, Pastor Joel and Andrea they began just kind of that offering moment. They just went to the front of the stage and they sat in chairs. They just sat there staring at the audience for about 60 seconds.
But it felt like at least an hour.
Yes.
I was getting uncomfortable. It's like,
and they were just there staring.
Yeah.
Just to be in the quiet, be in the silence, to promote like how long, like the whole series called How Long Can You Sit There? And it was just crazy because you saw people like twitching, getting itchy, grabbing their phone, but to just be like, no, we have to practice this. Like it is okay to just sit and just be. Without looking at your phone, without whatever, it's okay. And it's very, that I feel like has become this huge barrier between us and actually hearing from God. Because there's so many different voices coming into our ears that we just can't just like listen to him. We can't hear him because of all the other noise.
This is a trend in culture right now where people are filming themselves sitting for 60 seconds or 60 minutes doing nothing. And I realized the other day as I was watching one of these things that I sped up the time. Like I put times 2. I was like, I get it. But it's interesting that I couldn't even just sit there with them.
To watch
I'm
them
watching
just
them and
do
I'm like,
nothing.
And they're like moving and shifting and all these things. And it's like, that's the world that we live in.
I think it's crazy that they film themselves. And I think it's crazy that you watch them.
I watched it. And like,
I think both those things are
that's crazy.
I was about to judge those kids that have split
iPhone?
screens to work at the same time, but I can't even lie. On NFL Sundays, I
you
got
watch,
Sunday
like,
ticket,
all
4
four,
screens. Are you kidding me? 4 games at the same time. And
that's a little different though, because like, right? Is it different? Or
No,
would
it's
be too
not.
nice?
It's not different. Don't
Because like,
excuse him.
if you have like fantasy league or whatever, you just want to see what
I feel
everyone's doing.
so seen.
No,
Thank you for understanding.
I mean, there's nothing wrong, I guess, by
Well, I'm
itself,
just
but in
saying,
reality, it's just
No,
how
it is.
we've
We're just so
become.
used to it. Yeah.
There's
I
a
remember.
show
no,
on
for
your
sure.
TV, and
And
then you're watching
and
it.
then you could also see you see it
Yeah.
in your kids. You
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Not your kids, other people's
No,
kids.
but in
Right.
anybody's
You
case,
see
Everyone
it, their
else's
attention
kids.
span is 0
Yeah.
because of the quickness. And I think we're
Yeah.
like, it's okay because we're fine.
Yeah.
But if you see it in the kids right away, they have to have the split, the screen, whatever. Like they
Yeah.
cannot lock in. They can't look you in the
Yeah,
eye. They can't
yeah.
have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's insane.
no,
Yeah.
it
And this
is
is how we've
very-
trained them.
No, it
Very
is
true.
crazy. I feel
They're
like
great on camera though. They don't mind
they
being on
know.
camera.
Oh, they're not shy.
Everybody else
They're
is
not
whatever,
shy.
but they're not shy. So
They're
that's
all doing
one.
their own vlogs.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the prayer of this fasting season for anyone listening. It's like, God, like, help restore my
Yeah.
solitude. and
Yeah.
the
Rewire.
silence of the Lord in my life.
Mhm.
I need that desperately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good. What's a beautiful moment in your journey that actually brought breakthrough in your personal life? Like, what's a testimony? What's a story? Beautiful mess moment in your journey that actually brought breakthrough in your life.
Yeah, I sort of already mentioned it, but when I just lost so much, and you have nothing except you and Jesus to make it through that specific season you're in. And that just brought so much breakthrough. And I'll never forget one of the lessons I learned. Then it was when I came out of it, the lesson was, I wish I wouldn't have been so worried because God was
Yeah.
so faithful on the other side.
Yeah.
And I've held on to that lesson.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not going to worry. I've
Yeah.
been through this before, and God will take care of every single one of our needs. I'm going to keep trusting. I'm not going to worry.
I wish I would learn that lesson.
I haven't
Oh my
arrived, but
gosh.
I got to relearn.
I heard
it
a study the other day
sometimes.
that it is a little bit chemical. There's like a genetic gene. Jensen Franklin said it, so it has to be true.
All right.
That you are more certain people are more prone to worry. So Pastor Ronnie does not have this gene.
Mm.
Yeah.
He does not stress about anything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I got double portion
You're like, I have the
of
anointing.
that. I'm like, yeah, I am anointed to worry. So
That's,
it is such
that is my calling.
such a discipline for me every single day to like take captive worry
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
to just not. So
Yeah, I
crazy.
remember a year that no one else remembers, but it's 2020,
oof.
and there was just a lot of craziness happening. And I remember we were at at that point I think we were like quarantined or something, like we weren't leaving our house, and like me and Gio, I remember just like the climate of everything going on, like Gio and I just like weren't reacting the way we thought we would react, and we were kind of like, going on? Why are we feeling this way? This is weird. And, we were like, do we go and move to, Washington, D.C.? Do we move to Africa? Do we leave? Like, everything I don't know. We just felt, everyone was like doing random things. And I was like, this feels super crazy. And then we were praying, like in our living room one day, and both of us, like at the same time, just started weeping. Which is that's not how our prayer moments go at home, like
That's not like an everyday thing
right.
for
We
you
were
and Gio holding hands.
like, probably me more than him now, but yeah, we both started weeping, and like our hearts started breaking for like everyone that was involved and everything that was going on. And this was like midway through the year, so it was just the COVID. It was also the racial stuff, and there was stuff with our church, and like it was crazy. And I felt like in that moment, looking back, I felt like God literally deposited like compassion for others in my heart, like in that actual moment.
Yeah.
And then like probably a week later, PJ approached me and was like, hey, would you want to like be the high school pastor? And like literally, if that moment of prayer wouldn't have happened, like I for sure would have said no, because I think of all the things, like compassion would have definitely been lacking in my life for most of my life. I'd be like, can you guys suck it up? But there, like, it was that moment where like that had to happen in order to really just become a pastor, I guess, and care enough about people. And I feel like ever since that moment too, I'm just like a mess. Like anytime things happen to people with people, I'm just like always crying. And that just was not who I was like
Yeah.
before, whatever, of 2020,
Yeah.
before that moment in our living room where we both felt this presence of God. Like, yeah, but it was messy because we didn't know why. We were just like, are we supposed to not be pastors? Or we're not supposed to, like work online now? Like everything was up for debate. That's even when I talk to people who are in a mess, I'm just like, yeah, like what you think might be the purpose, it might not be the purpose. Just like keep your mind and your heart open to what God's doing. But just because maybe the season started because you were offended or you were hurt or you were betrayed,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean like the right action is your reaction in the moment. it's like God could be doing anything with this season. So kind of that, like, you'll look back and be like, oh, that's funny. I thought I was supposed to
Yeah.
worry and do this, and it was actually God was doing something else. So
One of my
Mm.
biggest moments that I think about this, and it's just so crazy because it's not a direct correlation, but I just know that was one of the fruit of it. When my siblings died, my sister died, my brother died, it was just horrible, and it's still horrible. Like you don't get over that stuff. It is what it is. But I saw the love of the local church, and it changed my life. It literally changed, and it changed my father's life. Like this old Puerto Rican judge, captain, crazy. Like it changed him because he never realized, he just didn't, he knew God, loved God, but he did not, like Jesus with skin on was the local church for us.
yeah.
Like how people just showed up physically, like they just showed up at our house, like just the next day during both days, just showed up and they just said hi to him. I remember like this entire, all the youth group. This was
Mhm.
like Pastor Jason was just a student. He didn't even know who Laura was. Came over and just like hugged my dad and said sorry, and then just like hung out, and people brought food and they offered to do our laundry and they offered to mow our lawn. Like so dumb,
Mhm.
but you just felt love.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like that to me, I was like, the church is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, obviously not perfect. Obviously still run by humans, but like that moment changed. It made me realize what the bride of Christ is. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, this is why you love the bride so much.
Yeah.
So I have a love for the local church. People like hate church. And I'm like, no, that's from the
Yeah.
devil. I'm like, no. The local church it's a gift. It really, really is. And I think that helped me kind of just understand it. And I don't know, hopefully be a part of the church so that
Yeah.
I can love others as well, because it changed, it shaped me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that how
And
the
a-
church responded.
And I think a messy season too can mean it's not always about us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as we're in this time, it's like, well, Lord, this might not be about all that I'm going to receive. Maybe
Mhm.
somebody else
Yeah.
needs to receive from me.
Yeah.
So I think we need to have our eyes open and just be praying like, Lord, neighbors, coworkers, whatever,
Yeah.
let me be available.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because right away it's selfish. I mean, we
Yeah.
literally go
Right.
inward, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's about other people. The world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
What's an issue you avoided for a long time until you finally let God into it? We keep getting good. That's why I rub my hands. What's an
Deep
issue
That's a
you
deep
personally
one.
avoided for a long time until you finally let God in it?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I feel like this is kind of every young man who the switch kind of turns on in your life when you start having kids, and you have a spouse and you're like, okay, I'm responsible for people. It's like the lens of, or the lane of success.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to be successful. It doesn't matter what I do. If I'm traveling and preaching to the world, I need to be successful. If I'm working at Publix, I need to be successful. I don't care where it is. Just success has to drive me. And we live in a world that will give you no shortage of content on that topic.
Mhm.
And I think for me, when I, especially when I was in my 20s, I just had to say, okay, Lord, I think I know what it means to be successful,
Yeah.
but I'm allowing you to be in it. And I will say this, like, my definition of success is significantly worse than the life I'm living right now. You know what I mean? So I just feel like allowing I'm like, what would have happened if I would have just tried to do what I thought looked good in my own strength or in my own way or in my own time? And like, I feel like right now, if I am experiencing some kind of success, it's not based on my own merit or my own strength. So I get to just enjoy the life I'm living right
Yeah.
now, and it feels successful to me. But yeah, and when I let the Lord in, it was really tough because I come from a lineage of people who just they did significant things that impacted like our world, like
Yeah.
and I mean like my parents worked for the UN. My brother's like a 4-star military general. Like they're doing things that are like legit. And then here I am. I'm like, I got to do something. Like I
Yeah.
can't just sit around. But it's like inviting
Yeah.
the Lord into that has just brought a level of freedom I didn't even know I needed to be delivered
Because
from.
success is
Yeah.
so different.
It
Yeah.
is.
You know what I'm saying?
It
It's so
is.
different for like what God sees as success versus we. It will never be the same. This is successful. And God's like, yeah, no, like that's not it. I want you to
Mhm.
do this over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I want you to like,
Our
be a good mom.
God-sponsored
I don't need you to cure
projects.
cancer. I need you
Yeah.
to love this child. And that's it. And that will
Yeah.
be successful. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
it's a battle.
That's good. I mean, this is a deep question.
Want me to change it? Want me to go
Yes.
back?
Yes.
It took a long time for me to allow God to move in the area in my life in the area of generosity
Ooh, that's good.
and my finances. So came to Christ, tither from like day one,
Yeah.
like absolutely. But to move from tithing to great generosity, radical generosity, not like
So
here's
good.
$10 for the missionary or here's $5 for the
Mhm.
kids so they can, raise money for, but I'm talking about like sacrificial
Yeah.
generosity. That's for sure. I think the number one thing that I still haven't arrived at because
Yeah.
we can always become more and more generous.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something where it's like, okay, well, I have to lose control of this area and give it to the Lord and it
Yeah.
be a sacrifice. And it's not something that we always like talk about, but as we're looking at this question, I was like, that's been something that maybe isn't hard for some people, but it was hard for me.
Yeah. No, it's hard for me too. I'm
Yeah.
middle child. I'm like, I want my stuff. I'm like, I always had to share. I'm the worst share. I hate sharing. I share because I don't want to go to hell. Because the Bible says to. No, it is such a deliberate, intentional thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, because my sister loves to share. And I'm like, oh, because you're a baby, you had everything. You're like,
Yeah.
here, everything. There's some people I know, Pastor Jess, she's like,
Yeah.
here, have it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It is so hard. But at the same time, I don't want to go to hell. I'm like, but it has
Yeah.
become such a discipline. Like, no, like every year I try to like, okay, this is in January. I'm like, okay, Lord, this is what I'm going to set aside. Try to like
Yeah.
give more of a year, be generous every year, whatever the right political way to say it. But it is hard.
It is.
It is hard, man.
is.
And I'm like, then I feel bad too, because I'm like, you're the worst.
Yeah.
You are horrible. Jesus died on the cross for your sins.
Like, why am I holding on to this so
I don't
much? Why do we
know. I
have
don't
it
know. Pray
and
for me.
clenched fists? And
No, it is tough.
Yeah.
But I also know it's like God is faithful and
Yeah.
he does what he needs to do. But
and it's like it just challenges so many things. Like, does he really own everything?
yeah,
Is he really in control?
Yeah.
Like, not that we're doing it to get something, but
Yeah.
it's like, does God really, like, is he really in control if I give away this? And then every single time God's goodness just shows you like,
Yeah.
no, I absolutely own it, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely in control. And me and my wife, like me and Crystal, we have such a testimony of like sacrificially giving, and then something just straight from heaven happens in
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
that's not the reason we're giving, but still that moment
It
of
happens. Yeah.
release. So it's an ongoing kind of just like growing in faith,
Yeah.
and I think as believers we should welcome that.
I think it's also, which even on the generous topic, I think also because of the church that we're at, I think we're standing on the shoulder of giants.
Yeah.
I can't look at this building right now that we're filming in like you were there when we didn't have it. And faithful people, single moms, like moms, dads, kids, children. This building was not bought by like one rich person. It was the faithfulness of students, of moms and dads, just little by little. And it was crazy because they're like, oh, we're going to move in this. Nope, we don't have the money. We can't finish building it. It was never like, we're like, okay, one more year. And then we finally moved in here. And I just remember, do you remember like when Pastor Carl was like he went ahead and he got the car of his dreams
Yes.
and then he sold the
So-
car
Yeah.
just to give
The
to this
Now
building,
Project. Yeah.
to give to the Now Project. And then someone bought it for him again.
Yeah.
And then he gave it away again because he's
Yeah.
like, no, God told me to get rid of it. Do not
Yeah.
give it back to me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, so I think about that and I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like, I'm like, we're standing on shoulders of
Yeah.
giants. I was like,
Yeah.
so we have to, like, we cannot sow in anything less than our predecessors.
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen to your children, your children, like what's going to happen? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, they have to,
Yeah.
they have to be bigger than us. They have to be better.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to
Yeah.
go to hell.
I think that like a few years ago, um, God like addressed in me just the lack of wanting to be vulnerable with people. But like it's like it was like the deepest level where I'm like, I'm pretty vulnerable. Like I tell anybody, I have no secrets. I don't care. I'll tell anyone anything about my life, like whatever. But I think it was like this random like bout of anxiety that I think I said on this podcast before that I didn't really think anxiety was real. Then I was like, oh, this is what everyone's talking about. And so I went through that and I talked to a counselor and it was just very random, like nothing set it off. Like, but then I was telling her, I was like, I don't know, it's really crazy. Like, what do you think is happening with me? And she was like, it just sounds like, you're uh have like a big lack of vulnerability with people. And I was like, how dare you? What are you saying to me? And at that point, so we had 2 kids. And even that, like, like it's hard to have kids, but like I also don't like to complain. So I don't know, like when I would see other people talking about stuff, I'd be like, a complainer over there, or like, and I always knew, like I've said it before, like I don't really care to compare myself to people. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna talk about what I have versus what they have. Like,
Yeah.
I just always felt like it was very virtuous. Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't inconvenience anyone with my problems. I can perform at a really high level, even if I'm dying inside, like, so I was like, I don't get why I would need to do this. It just it seems selfish. Like, why would I need to tell anyone
Yeah.
about my problems? Like, God can take care of my problems. But then I think there's like a level of vulnerability where like everyone's comfortable going. And then there's a level of like, oh, if I'm struggling with something and I have to tell you, and while I tell you, I'm going to cry. Like that was the level where I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to like make a joke about it later once I'm like halfway through it. And so, yeah, ever since then, I honestly don't want that crazy anxiety to come back. So I'm a little more like, I'll just say like, like I'll say,
You whisper it in the
I'll
dark.
say it really quiet, and I'll be like my eyes will be closed. But I realized, I was like, I felt old at that point. Like I had a life. I was like, God, why do I have to be like this?
Yeah.
And then I did, and it was helpful. And it's one of those things. Again, like we'll never stop growing in God. And the closer
Yeah.
we get to Him, the more we're like, oh, I'm nothing like Him. I'm actually worse than I was when I was 16, because now I just know I'm aware of how good He is. And so like now I feel even like I'm worse now knowing Him for a decade than I was when I first got saved, when I didn't know anything, so it was probably that.
This will be our last question. I'm going to stutter. I started stuttering
Take
when
us
Lada was
out.
born. Just throwing that out there because I was no longer the baby. Middle child once again. Here's its evil head. What do you think is the hardest part about being honest with God? Like, what do you think it's the hardest part of like just surrender? Like, why is it so hard for us as humans, as Christians? You know what I'm saying? Even seasoned Christians, we're like, this isn't our first rodeo. Like, this isn't our first Daniel's fast. Like, why is it so hard to just surrender and admit the mess?
Yeah, I think control. I think that we just like to always feel like we are steering the ship.
Yeah.
Maybe even without realizing it's steering God.
Yeah.
We can never do that, but maybe subconsciously we think we're in control of this prayer time, and then we're going to do this, and then this is going to happen. But I think giving up control is something where we have to say, okay, well, Lord, your will be done, and you lead me, and my answer is yes to wherever you're going to lead me. And I think that is a constant decision that we have to make, to say yes in every season and at all times. And I think that, we all like to kind of plot our own course, but sometimes, we're going the wrong direction and don't even realize it. So we just have to we have to give control to the Lord and just surrender and slow down and hear His voice. And I think that it is hard to do that. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do.
Hard to do. Yeah, I think it's that whole. My answer would be like yours, but I would say it like to know that God still might say no, like after you talk to Him about it. It's really hard for me to surrender this, Lord, but in our minds of like mathematical equations and human justice, it's like, so if I do this, you're gonna give it to me, right? Or you're gonna heal me, right? Or you're gonna provide so I can do this, and to know you can like open up to him who already knows what you're going to say, and you put yourself out there, and then the answer might still not be what you want. I feel like that's hard because it is the control thing where you're like, what? Like, I feel like my kids talking to me, where they're like, but that's not fair because you said this. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, though, I'm still not going to do it. And I think that's tough, but it's a control thing.
Yeah. And be okay with his answer, and then
But
be
also
okay
not
to go
be
back
mad
the
at
next
him.
time
Yeah, like it's
and
just,
ask, okay,
Yeah.
this miracle, like we still have to ask for the miracle. We still have to
yeah, and
believe
then the next
the
time
big.
be like, but will you heal me now? And then it's like, but then you're like, I don't want to ask anymore. Like, just stay down forever. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you have to admit you understand that you weren't willing, right?
Yeah.
So like when I go to the Lord, I'm like, all right, I knew that was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
you're like, oh man.
because to live, ignorance is bliss, and
Yeah.
like you, even when you know, you can kind of act like you don't know. I feel like that's where a lot of people lose their commitment to the Lord, is that they know, but they really convince themselves. It's scary how much you can convince yourself
Oh, yeah.
of like what you don't know,
Yeah.
but you actually know. And to surrender to the Lord is to go, I knew I was off,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's difficult. But also this question makes me think about like Jesus in the garden, like being like, if there's any way,
Yeah.
like let this
If
bitter
there's a
cup pass from
plan
me,
B, yeah.
but not my will, but your will be done. I
Yeah.
think the will of man is so interesting. Like just how I can convince myself of like things that I don't know, just like how you can lead yourself in a way that you know is contrary to what God wants, but your will is so strong.
Yeah.
And like will is the one thing that man has that God won't control.
Yeah.
Right? We have
Right.
free
Right.
will,
Yeah.
right? Like to make choices, and that is crazy. Like you can choose to be for him or choose against him,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I think that's why it's so hard to surrender. So watching
And we
Jesus,
bring other people along. We're like, right, it's like
Yeah.
this, right,
I was
right. And
gonna
then we
say,
have
you
a little
always can
posse.
trick people. Like,
Yeah, always.
whenever I remember, like, I think as a teenager, I started being so scared of the phrase, like, God knows my heart. But I feel like people would use it a lot, like, to avoid accountability. But
Yeah.
God knows my heart, and I was like, He does though. Like, that's like
And it's
really
gross.
scary. He does know your heart, and He knows my heart. And it's like the scariest because you're like, well, I don't want to. I could convince very strong Christians, that like something that's just a little off, or like,
Yeah.
I'm not forgiving this person, but here's the reason, and
Yeah.
very, pretty solid believers could be a little bit whatever, versus you take it to God and you're like, so forgive everyone. Oh, okay. Like, and
Yeah.
you're just bare before him. You're like, okay.
yeah, I definitely see
scary.
myself in that. Like,
Yeah.
how many? Like Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive? Like
Right.
that's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And you're
I'm
Peter.
there. I'm there with him. Like, wait, what'd he say? And I'm the person that when he says 77 times 7, I'm like, let's do the math on that.
We're like,
Like,
yeah,
like,
yes.
keep track.
like let's
My
figure
tally
it out.
marks. Yeah.
Exactly.
When I was younger, I started doing that with someone. I'm like, I'm gonna keep track.
Like 485.
And I'm like, no,
You're
very
close, buddy.
literal.
What?
More time and that's it. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us today. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to tune in. Don't forget to subscribe so that the podcast can let you know when the next one is up. And be a seeker. Seeker isn't afraid of messy, and that is okay. Don't be afraid of the mess, because God has good things in store for you, and He turns everything around for your good. I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching. See you next time.